Hi, this is Wishup, and this is the February reading for the first quarter forecasts I'm doing for 2019. You can enjoy them in whatever order you like. These are the playing card readings. So I already did January. There's another video if you'd like to see these cards discussed. So now I'm going to jump into the February cards. So each reading I intend to stand alone. I may refer back if some things carry over, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so flipping the Roy Lichtenstein cards, we get Ace of Clubs in reverse. We get the Eight of Diamonds, which is one of my favorite cards in the deck. And we have the Five of Hearts, also in reverse. So we have two red cards, so that's always a good sign. And clubs are usually better to see in a playing card reading than spades. So this Eight of Diamonds at the heart of the reading tells me that something is being set up to run like clockwork. I think this does relate to the new partnership or foundation or vow that you have made starting in January in this set of cards. So as we move forward, we're getting the kinks worked out. There were some temporary difficulties, perhaps even some emotional adjustments that had to happen. And now things are getting worked out and they're going along in good order. And when I see the Ace of Clubs upright, I generally think of it as a very good card for initiating something. But in this case, or even, signing on the dotted line, in this case, because it's in what I think of as a reverse position, because the pip is pointing down, I think it means you don't have to rush this. You are working things out. And I've especially had this feeling with issues like New Year's resolutions, which this year a lot of people aren't even doing them as New Year's resolutions. They're doing things like depth years, vows not to shop, vows to not buy more of this or not consume more of that. These can all be great things and developmental things, but to make these plans for an entire year, you may need to adjust these plans as you go. And there's a real need to do that without a feeling of failure attached to it or self-criticism. All the astrological power in fire and earth right now is making us hungry for structure and concreteness. So the desire to put things, to hammer things down and make them solid and lasting is very strong. And yet these aren't necessarily things that we've fully tested or tried out or experimented our way through. If you think of this as like the Eight of Pentacles, where you're trying things, you're working it out, you're testing, you're learning through iteration, through trial and error. That's where your mastery comes from. Anything that you're trying to do, whether it's changing your shopping or changing your diet, or you're figuring out a new relationship with someone and you're making all the little adjustments that come as people start to know each other better and better, try not to lock yourself in too tightly to anything or to feel like you need to proceed too quickly. Astrologically speaking, every year, January is not the ideal time for resolutions because we're coming out of a year. We're not actually in the start of a new year. We're still sort of at the culmination of one. So really, March is when the spring starts springing and the baby animals start coming out and the plants. And it's a great time when you've done all that research in the quiet time of the year, and you've done your planning and your bulletproofing, and you've really worked out the kinks, to start to really see the beautiful results of whatever it is you're working on, and to feel like, spring's here and I know I've got my crap together, right? But right now is not a time to feel like you have to lock down any particular approach, especially if you're making a big change, because any circumstance in your life is there for a reason. If it's a behavior you have, there's a reason for it. If there are situations that have happened to you in the past, or other circumstances beyond your control, they may be causes for certain things in your life. And the change that you need to make to move into a new life might take some effort or some gradual adjustment. Most people really underestimate how much the process, the journey, is going to change them. They think all about the goal, but the journey is really where it's at in terms of the expansion and transformation that you feel. And so I guess what I'm saying here is there's a sense with the Five of Hearts in reverse that if you don't make healing part of the process, let yourself go through the moments of failure even, or backsliding, or resistance, and learn from them. Like, those are the opportunities to really find out what's going on. Let's say you're trying to change, for example, an eating pattern that you have. Maybe you do a lot of snacking, and you say, well, I'm going to stop snacking. And then you really start to hit resistance to that. This is a great time to be gentle with yourself and figure out why. Maybe you need to change your eating the rest of the day so that you don't get so hungry by the time you're snacking. Maybe you're looking for a serotonin boost because there are things going on and you're not feeling that upbeat, and you need to find some other way to get some of those good feeling chemicals going, like through more exercise or something like that. Maybe you're snacking because your sleeping schedule is a little funny and you realize you're doing all your snacking late at night, and if you change your sleep schedule at night, then it changes the time you wake up in the morning. And maybe you're snacking because it's something you used to do with someone who you really cared about, and it gives you a feeling of comfort when you feel sort of alone. There's so many reasons behind the things that you're doing, and unpacking the reasons so that you understand yourself and can make changes compassionately. That's where it's at. So it's not really about whether or not you fail at a resolution or you drop your depthier commitment in the first month. It's really not about that. It's about, if there's a circumstance in your life that you're not comfortable with, or you don't feel fits you anymore, or is causing problems for you, unpacking that may take a little time, and it's so worth it. But you definitely don't need to nail down anything right now. You don't have to make final decisions on things. There is a sense here, there could be a partnership involved in this, a relationship, a new vow that you make to yourself. That was in the January set of cards. And there was that sense of this temporary heartburn that you're working through things. I think it's so worth it. This is where you're gaining your mastery. And this mastery is going to supply the resources you need and beautiful things for the rest of your life. It looks like a very concrete thing because we've got diamonds here. So it looks like something to do with health, nutrition, finance, your day-to-day life, the things that are very close to you in your day-to-day life. So maybe don't feel like you need to sign on the dotted line exactly now. Don't feel like you have to write your book about how you conquered, your personal demons after 1 month. Just relax a little and give yourself the time to go through the process and learn everything there is to learn. Because what you are attempting is probably very worthwhile, and your road to get there could be very surprising and enlightening in ways that are worth more even to you than achieving the final goal. So anyway, that's what I see here in February, this kind of maybe hitting a little bit of a skid area and needing to fine tune those approaches. But it all looks good and it looks worthwhile. So please be kind to yourself, okay? And yeah, I think that's it for this one. Rock on with your bad selves.